Oh, I see. Hey, Goris, glad you could join us. Yeah, we got two streams tonight going on. I got myself and Meek here casting some placement matches for the little preseason tournament we're doing over the next few weeks, and we also got Delphius over at TnT TV doing a couple other games. We want to get through these as quickly as possible, which is why we have two streams. And again, thank you, Meek, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And just letting the players know that they can go ahead and get started and getting right into it. So, first thing first, this is happening on the newest beta patch. So, there's a couple new things which we'll talk about a little more, I'm sure, once we get into it. But, long story short, these placement games, they're for new players, generally speaking, where we're trying to see where they fit into the division structure that we usually have. Usually we have Premier being the highest, Intermediate being in the middle, and Beginner being the lowest. But looks like we're getting right into it here. I'm excited to see how these turn out. So on the right, playing as Bellflight in the blue, we have Horus the Holy. And on the left, we have Nicolascio in the red. So,
Yep, both of them are returners from the season one we just had, the season one official tournament. So while relatively new to the scene, we do know a little bit about both of them.
yep. Yeah, I believe both of them played in the beginner division last season. So, looks like we have some similarities, some differences here. We got squirrels from both, and we have falcons and skunks. That's pretty standard, but looks like Horus is opting for the toads, as that's one of the units that has been changed. Is now toads actually have bonus move speed at all times, so they're a little bit easier to move, easier to catch up to the lizards, which they love to fight against. And we actually do see lizards on the other side for Nicolascio, so interesting to see how that interaction will go. It looks like they're just scouting each other right now, getting a lay of the land, seeing what this map looks like, and it looks like they both did standard 8 farm openings, just building a couple tier 1 warrens now, and looks like it's going to be a pretty standard game.
Yeah, both of them going for very serious decks with a lot of flexibility, bringing multiple tier ones, multiple tier twos. Horus with the defense, Nicolasio with the tier three. I just love how there is an imbalance in the deck choice, so it's going to be awesome to see how they go, since this definitely won't be a mirror match.
Yep, and it looks like we actually had Nicolascio sell off one of his lizard warrens and get a skunk, and he's getting a new mill here. So Horus is going to see this, although we'll see what he does about it. He actually just has 4 tier 1 warrens himself, and he's deciding, yep, it's time to go. Gonna shoot down this this campfire here and
For the
start moving
price of
up.
one squirrel, yeah.
Yep.
And he's going to get some shots in, but this skunk is definitely going to get up. And I think that will probably be enough to force Horus into a retreat, but we'll see.
Yep.
Doing good to keep the
Toads got a couple. Oh, there was some very good toad hits, but
Oh
I
my
don't know
gosh.
if there's enough squirrels. Oh, well, the that skunk did go down. So there's
Oh,
a
but
couple
the skunk went
squirrels
down.
here. Yeah. So this is. I don't think Horus is going to be able to get this milled simply because of the reinforcements here. So that was a bit of a messy fight, but it looks like that. Yeah, Nicolascio I think came out ahead there. Gets to keep his mill at half HP and has the tech advantage having those skunks. It actually sells off the lizards after seeing
Yeah, those toads were insanely
toads.
fast, Kibbo.
Yeah, yep, it's true. But it looks like Horus is kind of considering doubling down here. Just coming right up there, just leaving units there. Did actually take the campfire, which is good for just a little bit of extra income, counting as one farm. So, but again, these skunks can be very hard to attack into, depending on the micro here. Oh, man, those fast toads really get up on the army. Taking out most of the tier 1, but really there's just not enough left to get through the skunks. And Nicolascio is definitely a good position now.
Yeah, unfortunately, there wasn't enough army behind those toads to pick off the low health units that the toads brought down. So this is definitely the Nicolasio's advantage.
Yep, and Nicolascio, I think, senses how big of a victory that was, and feels comfortable going forward, and just picking off that campfire and backing up, saying that's enough for me for now. I don't think I'm not sure if they actually scouted any of the mills though, so might just be
Interestingly enough,
assuming that there's not a mill just based off of all the aggression.
yeah, interestingly enough, the army values are still neck and neck.
Yep,
Horus
definitely.
still has a chance to come back from this before Nicolasio's superior income starts kicking in.
Yeah, but Horus has definitely got to do something soon because it's definitely counting down. Decides to get a mill. Uh, might be thinking that he just can't push in here. And it's going to be, well, he is going to push in now. There's a lot of squirrels on both sides, but we do have the falcons from Horus. It's going to be a close one. The real question is, can Horus break through? Because, again, got to get in there, got to do some damage, but it looks like they just mostly trade tier 1 and then back up. So, again, now that the farms have followed out, it's past the 5-minute mark, you can see it's 4 farms to 8. This is where the second base with extra farms really starts to kick in, and Horus,
Yep.
thinking he just can't break it, just decides, okay, I gotta try to catch up, try to make this game go longer.
It's important to note that equal trading right now favors Nicolasio because he doesn't need to attack. He just needs to sit back, gain that eco advantage, and come in when he's got a far superior army.
Yep, and it's funny because Nicolasio really just has those 2 skunks as tier 2, has a
But they can't be
ton
brought
of tier
down.
1. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to me to see if Horus can come back just by having a better army composition. Is actually going up to 4 skunks now, which is gonna again just be absolutely brutal against all this tier 1. So
Yeah, if we take a look at the army graph, Nicolasio is already pulling ahead.
yeah, definitely.
However, if Horus can take and engage in a small, tight area, his skunks might be able to do enough damage.
Yeah, and it's funny this choke point that Nicolasio is walking through right now would have been perfect, but it looks like he's coming up to where this mill is. Even with 4 skunks, this might just be too much tier 1 to deal with. It's pretty close. Again, just a handful of tier 1 left, and those 2 very resilient skunks. But
Wow, look at that army graph.
yeah,
Oh, and it looks
ooh,
like Nicolasio has just barely enough.
yeah, those 2 falcons finally go down, and there's just not enough reinforcements for Horus to really hold on here, and loses all his farms. And Nicolasio just trying to make sure he doesn't throw the game, but it's looking pretty grim now.
And that is going to be the very close to the GG for game 1.
Yep, all but a formality now, and Horus realizes it and taps out. So that is the end of our first game. Honestly, didn't see a whole lot of differences there, based off this new patch. But I must say, those toads are pretty scary. They move very fast. So, just going ahead and so there was a bit of a change here. Um, there was supposed to be somebody called Fies that was going to play here, but Horus is apparently tagging in for him, so just updating the scoreboard here, and unfortunately don't have the right name there. I can't manually change it now, and I wanted to focus on this next game that just happened, so
Oh,
we have,
Fives. I've seen him around today. Yeah.
yeah, but
That's a bummer he couldn't make it.
yeah, but in the top, in the red, we have Nicolasio with looks like a little bit different of a deck, but then we have Horus in the far left with a very different deck here. It looks like going for Lizards is the
The
only tier
QQ
1.
special!
Yeah, this is a very unique deck. I'm very interested to see how this goes. Again, Lizards only tier 1, Ferrets only tier 2, and then double tier 3 and double defenses. So this is going to be a very map-dependent deck, in my opinion. And I don't know.
Definitely, but I
What do
think
you think of
this
this map? Because I'm not
I think this
entirely
map
sure.
favors it. I think he can
Really?
do it with this map. I do. This first of all, this deck brought to prominence by QQ. Many people have picked it up, including myself. So there's a lot of footage on it in tournament play. So if he's got a chance to see that, maybe he'll know how to play it. But a lot of things go in Horus's favor for this map. One, there's multiple directions that he can attack the enemy base, which means if he's going to go for Mass Lizard, he has multiple avenues to kind of always threaten the base race and keep Nicolacio kind of cooped up in his own base. And his first base and his natural uh, can both be defended quite significantly with defenses, even though he's got to deal with two different directions. Uh, those directions aren't ridiculously apart from each other. So I think he can kind of choose to defend one side and then always threaten attacking from that end so that Nicolacio can't wrap around to the other side. But it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that just as far as looking at the mills and the distance to each player, they're a lot closer to Horus. That is definitely true. That's gonna, I think, help quite a bit. But there was a bit of a kind of mind games early on there, pre-8 farms, where both players built a warren and then canceled it and rebuilt it. But it looks like we have a bit of
And
harassment here from Horus. Came in at a perfect time, right as Nicolacio was leaving to scout, and that's brutal damage, losing 3 pigs.
yeah, and already that attack is going to force Nicolacio into a very defensive position, unless he's going to go all in,
Yeah.
which it looks like is going to be
Which
Nicolacio.
it's interesting that Horus deciding to drop 2 farms after doing very critical economic damage, but it looks like he's going to be able to hold on here even
And
so.
that's all she wrote.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult to come back from. Man, it really just goes to show lizards can be very punishing if you're not paying attention to where your army is and where you are, because it's one of those things where if you're going to be, for example, you have this map, there's 2 different paths, right? If you are leaving to the north to go scout, leave your army to the south to cover your pigs, because
It's
again,
incredibly difficult to navigate
it is.
lizards.
It's very hard. Even the best players can lose pigs just from not paying attention for a split
Oh, he might
second.
have overcommitted. He did.
Yeah, I was going on about how this is really bad and how to defend against it, but Horus just threw his entire army trying to run in here and end the game.
Oh, all he has to do is wrap around. All he has to do is wrap around, and that's the GG.
Yeah, well,
And
Nicolacio
he's thinking
not
the same
buying
thing.
another mill to fight against the base race, and yeah, so
Yeah.
Horus is just gonna run around and do the last couple of hit points here, and well, we'll be going to a game 3. Definitely an exciting game 2 there, if a little short. But
Lizards, man.
yeah, I mean, and you know what? To Horus's credit, you have to make these things happen, right? He might have gotten a little lucky with the timing, but that's why you go in there and that's why you go in there and try to do those attacks.
Yeah, it definitely takes a good player to play lizards right.
Yeah. And looks like I had the scoreboard backwards last time, but we are tied 1-1 this time, so that's good. And just waiting for the deck selections now. Looks like Horus saying not going to change what works. Just going with the same deck. Didn't really get to see most of the rest of his deck, but oh, actually,
Oh, he dropped the ferrets.
Yeah, dropped the ferrets for squirrels. So we'll have a few more options in the early game, but all right. In the bottom left here, we have Horus in the blue, and in the top we have Nicolacio in the red. And this is
like
game 3,
yeah.
so this is winner takes all now.
Map Gen gods have heard Nicolacio's plea and given him a pretty safe and comfortable outpost in the top.
Yep, gotta love these 3, high ground bases. Gonna be fairly easy to defend. It's funny because Horus dropped the ferrets,
And what a great map for them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of mills and they're really close together. But looking at Nicolacio's deck, they actually are both running both squirrels and lizards. I think just realizing that they'd rather have the flexibility because at least especially last game, but even a little bit in the first game, the games have been a little bit volatile. So Horus actually building an early squirrel warren. and Nicolacio kind of at the same time. So
Yeah, this is actually going to be a very interesting test for Horus of how he's going to manage to tech into the tier 3 because Nicolacio is running a tier 2 deck
yeah,
supplemented by the Fox, which means he's going to attack in a tier 2 timing fashion,
yep,
which is
definitely.
it's just going to be before a tier 3. So we're going to see how Horus is going to delay his opponent from breaching his brace before his tier 3 gets out,
Yep.
if it comes out at all.
Yeah, that and that's the thing. He's gonna have to, I think, lean. Horus is gonna have to lean heavily on his defenses if he wants to get these tier 3 up. And I agree. I don't think he can wait too long. He can't wait until there's a big tier 2 army on the other side. Otherwise, he's just gonna get run over even with defenses. So, but we'll just have to see. Both players just building up some tier 1. Looks like Nicolacio just expanding right now, and Horus is doing the same. So both of them have well three warrens for Horus. Nicolacio just starting a fourth, but very similar. It's funny they ended up taking mills closer towards each other, um, and just speeding up here to make sure I'm caught up, but really close. And Horus actually going for this boar and actually denies the scout from Nicolacio, so Nicolacio has not seen that Horus thrown down a boar. That's a pretty big deal. And it looks like, so we have the one farm from Nicolacio and a Cam's Warren, Chameleons. So he's going to give him a lot of power in a minute or so here. And Horus actually building a balloon after realizing how close the bases are. And yeah, it looks like Horus is just running his lizards around and trying to prevent the scout from Nicolacio. Nicolacio has absolutely no idea what's going on. Just sees,
Yeah.
defenses going up and, that mill. I don't know. He might be suspecting something if he sees no farms here, but I'm curious to see how Nicolacio plays this.
Yeah, Nicolacio doesn't have a giant tier 2 army. He's going to go more into an eco maneuver, which little does he know is only going to favor Horus in the long run.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, he has no defenses to kind of panic build when this boar pops out here, and actually building another mill on the other side, maybe just fearing that there's going to be like ferrets or some other way to siege his left base. But again, he's worried about siege because he sees those defenses, but only now does he scout the boar. And I mean, I guess better late than never, but I don't know if it's going to be soon enough to
Yeah,
muster a defense.
if he had seen it while it was early in its creation, he might have been able to put down some Falcons, but no longer the case. He's going to have to work with what he has.
Yeah, decides to just kind of throw down some more tier 1 warrens, maybe hoping to just out reinforce. Well, actually building some falcons now, but I mean the boar's here. It's go time, and all these tier 1 are gonna take out the boar. But there's gonna be still an army advantage for Horus, but it might not be quite as devastating as we thought. Their 15 lizards from the Nicolacio were able to just kill the boar so fast it just wasn't actually as big an advantage. And that actually makes this game a lot more interesting.
Nicolacio survives, but the army graph still shows that was a major success for Horus. And Nicolacio, thanks to these defenses put up by Horus, he's not going to be able to kind of push a counterattack right now.
Yep. And that boar is rebuilding, so it's funny. Eco-wise, they're relatively close now. I mean, Horus is still up by a little bit, especially with those new farms building, but it looks like we have an attack of the defenses trying to attack while Horus doesn't have that boar back yet, and is definitely going to win this fight, but after seeing the boar, is going to decide to turn around. Now, might be able to kill that boar, especially with the chameleons, and yeah, with these reinforcements, I think he's just going to go in here and lose a bunch of his units, but kill the boar again.
That boar should survive.
Yeah, the boar actually does survive. That's actually a big deal for Nicolacio. That's not that's potentially game losing because he lost a lot of units trying to kill that boar. And Horus both has defenses and has more economy and has this boar, so I don't know. It's looking pretty rough now for Nicolacio.
Taking the engage by the balloon. having defenses set up for when the boar ultimately dies, it just shows an extra layer of depth to Horus's play this game.
Yep, he's definitely been leveraging, everything he can to try to win these engagements, and I think he's sensing some weakness now, is trying to push forward, getting that mill hopefully to extend his territory so he can build defenses closer, but it looks like he doesn't need to. He can just smash in here with this boar. The boar AoE just eating up that tier 1 army, and looks like Horus is going to take it.
Yeah, and a beautiful game, honestly, by him. You got to give him the credit where it's due, and he's going to take the
Absolutely.
series.
Yep. And got to see, really, only got to see the Toads as far as new units there, but it was a good series nonetheless. Definitely went the distance there, and good games by both players. So we're just gonna go ahead and check in on the other players and see who else is ready to play. So I know one of the other matches we're going to have is Darius Hart versus Night Slayer. I'm actually kind of curious, Meek. Have you had much experience playing against either of those players? Because I think they're both relatively new.
Funny enough, they've both been playing pretty much every day, pretty much daily for the past couple weeks, and I've had the pleasure of playing with them. And both of them, Darius, I, I don't know a lot about Darius, but both of them very good in their own right. Have Night Slayer's been going toe to toe with pretty much everyone on the ladder. So he's, even though he played in the beginner and he only started a couple months ago, he's no longer a beginner. He's climbed the ranks very fast, and I think I imagine that will show here. And Darius, kind of a wild card in my opinion. I haven't seen too much from him. However, I have seen some really magnificent outplay, so I wonder if that will be his game plan going into there.
Yep, and I actually did play Darius Hart on the ladder once, I think, and I was caught off guard by those owls and lost. So he definitely has the ability to take some games, and I'm definitely curious to see how his style stacks up with Night Slayer, who again I know Night Slayer's been playing a lot. So
Yeah, he's been trying to practice playing in kind of an heirloom fashion, uh, with triple or quadruple tier twos. So it'll definitely be a clash of play styles.
yep.
Now, for any of you who don't really know kind of the exact format of the tournament, I might as well give you a bit of a kind of an update of the tournament. It when it starts out, it's going to be divided by leagues, meaning premier, intermediate, and beginner players will play each other initially in the tournament, but ultimately, if you move on and progress, you're going to be able to fight whoever won. And with the prize being a spot at a super tournament later in the coming year. So definitely something to fight for, even though it's not the season 2 official tournament.
Yeah, and I know there's a tournament that just ended recently, which I believe the gentleman was organizing, which was kind of more of a fun, lighthearted tournament with some interesting rules. But I know a lot of the players have been interested in playing some more competitive 1v1s and also looking forward to the patch. So I think Mochaccino, who's the organizer of this specific tournament and also the general TnT Championships, he kind of thought it would be a good idea to have this kind of preseason before next season tournament, just to give some players some time to play with the new patches and kind of see how things go. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what people do. So we're just looks like there is being another change a little bit of who's going to be playing. So Apologize, my overlay is not going to be entirely accurate here, but
Is it no longer Derishart?
yeah, it looks like he is not able to join, so I'm just messaging Mochaccino right now.
I wonder who the backup will be. Message Mocha if you're so passionate, Kippo.
We got some peanut gallery in the chat.
Protocam in the building, another amazing content creator that likes to stream tooth and tail. Fabulous player in his own right as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, and gets to Protocam is one of the people who actually does speed runs of the single player, which is pretty cool. It's fun to watch those strats, so shoutouts to you. All right, looks like we got somebody joining. Looks like we have Raton joining, who I believe was wow, what was he called before?
That's Daffy.
Daffy, thank you. With people changing their names so much, I always forget. But all right, can I try to see if I can do some things on the side, but it doesn't look like I can. So all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and reset the score here. Looks like we have both players, and I think we're good to go. So again, we have Daffy here, Raton, who is replacing Darius Hart in these matches, but he'll be going up against Night Slayer, and hopefully we're going to have some interesting games.
Absolutely. And Raton or Daffy, however you prefer, definitely one to look out for. He's been getting a lot of practice with lizards and has been being coached by Amari. I've heard recently,
Oh yeah,
who is pretty much the lizard god in the community. So it's gonna be Night Slayer is definitely up for a frustrating 3 bouts if Raton definitely decides to go into lizards because those are gonna be hell.
yep. All right, I'm just gonna message Night Slayer here and make sure. Well, looks like we have some technical difficulties from Night Slayer. He's going to try to leave and rejoin.
I do hope it works out because I am stoked for this matchup. To be honest, Raton definitely proving himself to be a very solid player. He plays very solid play styles. Nothing too crazy, but we definitely see. I've seen some very strong Squirrel Mole, some very strong Lizard. Is hit after playing in the beginner season in this past season. I really think he has the fundamentals down to a T, which is just going to make playing him difficult. Period.
All right, looks like Night Slayer is having trouble actually starting the game, which might have to do with the patch. So, again, just to refresh people, we are playing on the newest beta patch of the game, so there are some changes. But if you don't have the same version as people, the game's not going to start. So,
He didn't switch to public test. All right.
yeah, again, I'm not sure. He's going to check which version he's on right now, but um, we'll just have to wait and see. Um,
Oh, he's in coaching. I can go see what's up.
yeah, okay, why don't you hop over? I'll try to keep people entertained in the meantime. All right. Nothing like a few technical difficulties to get a tournament started off. Good times. So, just to give a little more view of how this is going to go, as far as just the rest of the matches tonight. Again, we were doing some placement matches for newer players to see where they're going to fall, but again, some of these players has played before, but um, anyways, we're going to do it Swiss style where the looks like we're into it, but just to finish my thought, the winners of this first round are going to play against the other winners, and the losers will play. And basically, we're going to try to match up people with the same records. And again, we're going to see after 3 rounds of this, who ends up being the top players, and those players will be put into intermediate, and the rest will be put into beginner. So, all right, looks like we have a quadruple tier 2 deck from Night Slayer here, very Erelu-esque, just minus the moles, and has a boar instead. And looks like Raton has triple tier 1 and then Badger and defenses. So,
Night Slayer's all set up as well.
Yep. Thank you for doing that. And we're going right into it. All right. So, in the bottom left, in the red, we have Night Slayer, and in the top, in the yellow, we have Raton. So, this is certainly an interesting map, and I think especially due to the player's deck. There are not a ton of mills, but a couple of these mills are towards each other. So I'm wondering if there is an artillery that could be set up on this high ground, if it could actually at least help siege, but curious to see what your thoughts are here.
I'm honestly just I'm a little giddy in anticipation for how this is going to go down. These are very, very interesting decks. Interesting in the sense that Night Slayer has a very solid deck that has full capability of responding to every single one of Raton's threats. However, Raton's deck in itself is a threat if not addressed properly. So really excited to see how Raton really brings it alive.
It looks like both players just going for a regular 8 farm opening, and Raton not scouting as quickly as possible, but correctly assuming that there's just going to be 8 farm. And looks like Knights are taking the first mill, just taking the one straight ahead towards the enemy on the high ground here. So there are a couple cabins here on the right side, which kind of help defend the main path, I would say, up to the high ground, but still can go around the other way. I think this low ground is going to make a natural divide, but as I say that, Raton is taking a couple lizards, just going over here, seeing what's going on, seeing if he can get anything done. It looks like...
he might pick this. He will pick this.
Yeah, he's definitely going to pick off a farm, and that's a big deal. That is 60 food down the drain. Not game over, but that is definitely a big lead.
Night Slayer unfazed to go straight into tier 2. It's great tier 2.
Yep. We got the Chameleon here, started by Night Slayer, so that's going to definitely pack a punch, but he's going to be having a little bit of trouble defending, possibly, from Raton coming in here, and didn't build any more farms, so not able to get any easy pickoffs, but I mean, that's 9 lizards against 6 squirrels. It's going to be pretty hard to defend that mill, and that mill's definitely going to go down. And Raton definitely comfortably has map control, is what I would say. So Night Slayer's just going to have to sit back, wait for these chameleons to get up. One is out now, and see what he can do. And Raton is committing in here. He's definitely going to get a pig, but might lose quite a few lizards for this. So Night Slayer handily winning that battle, I believe. Yeah, look at that drop, but is deciding just to build another mill, but is also going for the push. So we have a whole bunch of tier 1 warrens now being built, but it's really just these lizards versus these squirrels. So it's a close fight, but close fights, generally defenders and lizards are going to win. So, well, we have a couple squirrels left, but they're deciding to just back up. So, or waiting for the chameleon reinforcement and going back in. So
This might be really good for Night Slayer, but he has to be super careful. However, in low numbers, chameleons just do massive damage to lizards. Oh, he should really keep that alive. Oh, it goes down.
yeah, it does go down. It would hit the mill a couple times, but he might be able to get off, pick off a pig here or two.
One pig's gonna go down.
Oh, he's gonna
Two
target
pigs
the
gonna
other
go
one,
down.
but he's definitely gonna trade his army for it. So
Now he has
he's
to
gotta
retreat.
back up now.
Oh, he's gonna lose the cam.
He's gonna
Oh,
fight with
will
the
he?
chameleon.
Oh, will the cam survive?
I don't think it's gonna survive, honestly.
He
But
doesn't.
he gets a couple more lizards, and yeah, so it's at this point a lot of trades back and forth. But I think it's oh man, this is tough. I mean, he got both the farms. I guess long story short, neither player has farms on their mill, on their second mill. So yeah, still I would say it's really close because economy-wise, Raton is going to be ahead, but chameleons just do so well against lizards. So I think tech-wise, Night Slayer is looking a little better.
I would say Night Slayer managed to stabilize, and he's definitely still in this. However, I would give the slight advantage to Raton. I just don't think Night Slayer got enough damage in to take the lead, but if we look at the army graph and we look at the income, Raton's only ahead by a small margin. So it's really going to be defending this properly, not letting him continue to poke.
And Night Slayer, again, had a pretty good army placement. Make sure he had his armies on these building farms here. Ooh, Raton is going to commit to this, and this, I think, is a little ambitious. Does end up killing a building farm, but like he lost all of his lizards. So, I mean, look at the army graph. Night Slayer definitely has an army advantage now.
And that's the cost of playing with lizards. The go big or go home, and in this instance, Raton went home.
Yep, had to retreat because he lost all his army, but it looks like he's going to look for another pick here, but Night Slayer is here to defend, so... they're just kind of posturing back and forth. Night Slayer, I think, is feeling like he has a stronger army at this point, kind of poking around, but it is still 18 lizards, so I think once the second chameleon comes out, then it's going to be a little bit better, but ooh, and we have a tier 3 coming down for Raton. And
Benefit of being a lizard player is no one's going to go scout you because they don't want to get sniped while you're away. So this Badger, unless it gets scouted right now.
Yeah, this is a
look at
timely
that.
scout from
Brilliant.
Night Slayer. Look at that instinct.
And Snakes is immediately going to be what he puts down.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Yep.
Even canceling what he was building previously for. And the question is, what does Raton do from here? He could cancel it, build something else. Could just build more farms. Or could... Well, I guess he doesn't really have a whole lot of other units as far as options, so...
And this is a fantastic textbook response by Night Slayer. Honestly, this is an incredibly educational game of how to properly play lizards, but also how to properly defend against lizards, because we saw the lizard player in our last matchup just kind of overwhelm the defender, but in this time, Night Slayer's prowess is rearing its head.
Yep. Nice. Raton is coming back here and getting a couple Warren picks, but let's see if he gets
Everything was already spawned, so though it's a hit, it's not devastating.
He tries to go through, unfortunately, a spot that is not open, but it looks like he's not going to get too punished for it. Only loses a handful of lizards. And yeah, you're right. The units had already spawned, but if the game goes on longer, that could matter.
Oh,
gets a couple of pigs here, losing a couple more lizards for it. So this is going to be interesting because I feel like Raton is repeatedly trying to essentially attack the economy of Night Slayer, but Night Slayer is getting a pretty serious army now. I mean, only 9 squirrels, but the 2 cams and 4 snakes. That should be able to hold this push, hopefully.
I imagine it will. The Badger doesn't have any pigeons to heal it, which I'm sure was Raton's original intention, but he couldn't afford it. And 2 tags already in. That's a dead Badger.
And was Raton focus firing the mill?
He was going for the mill.
And now if we look at the army graph, it's a bit of a difference now. So I think Night Slayer is just going to come in here and say, you have no army. I still have basically my whole army. Gonna just end the game now.
Wow, very sharp gameplay by Raton, and honestly masterful gameplay by Night Slayer. He managed to consolidate his units, defend properly, and ultimately take the dub against a very strong Lizard player.
Yeah, that was very solid. Night Slayer definitely had enough patience to not, overreact. Like, honestly, when I thought at the beginning that, Night Slayer, kind of lost early engagements against the Lizards, lost his second mill. A lot of players in that circumstance, they overreact. They try to do some sort of all-in, but
Yeah,
he
they would get
actually,
flustered, but he stayed calm.
yeah, he
Made the
stayed calm. Just built his cams with a
scouted
few
even
more
against
squirrels.
lizards. Just
Yeah,
wonderful all
yeah, he
around.
did very good. All right, so switching up to green, we do have Night Slayer now up a game in the bottom left. So, and we also have Raton.
KSR.
Yep, KSR. And in the right, we have Raton in the yellow. We have a bit of a, I would say, a longer rush distance map here. So it won't be quite like the other one where they're really close and there's like two different paths. I don't think there's two different paths on this map from what I can see. There's really just the main path kind of down the middle upper side of the map. So it's definitely
Yeah,
going to favor squirrels over lizards, I believe. Just because lizards, with their speed, again, you saw last game, have the ability to come in at unexpected angles and get value by picking things off while there's no defense. But again, a lot harder when the map is kind of a linear map like this one.
yeah, the map definitely shutting down Raton from playing the same way he did last round. However, I don't think that was his intention. He's been telling me a bit about this deck. This is his new contained deck he's been coming up with. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out against Night Slayer.
Yep, and both players just kind of doing early expands. They notice how big the map is. The rush distance is fairly large, fairly long, I should say. So they're both just going to be building a few tier 1 warrens and scouting their opponent, see what's up, get a second mill, start dropping some farms. And I think if we're going to be playing a longer game, generally speaking, the person with more tier 2 or tier 3 has an edge. But we do see that artillery cannon from Raton, which again, always got to wonder if that's going to make an impact in a game like this.
This map definitely isn't easy to get it up. The only way that that's going to prove effective, because Raton does have less farms to his name, unless he's going to take the one on the low ground, meaning the artillery would have to come from this low ground mill, which is already hard to get to. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we'll see it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we just have farming on both sides. Raton actually building a few extra tier 1s at this point, and I think Night Slayer is going to scout this. Well, he sees the 2 tier 1 warrens, but didn't see the third. And we actually have skunks coming out now. But Night Slayer is going for chameleons and more squirrels, so gonna get some units, and is up in economy, so yeah, but looks like Raton is just turning around and building more farms himself, so
Yeah, and once again, a really educational game for any viewers watching. Night Slayer is just taking a very balanced deck. He's got 4 tier 2s in it, and which just gives him so much flexibility that it's not map dependent at all. However, Raton has lizards, has turrets and MGs, which are all, I would say the MGs and the lizards, most importantly, are very map dependent and aren't good for every scenario. So while they can give you a really strong edge if you get what you need, it's kind of like rolling dice. And in this instance, a lot of his almost 1/3 of his deck was shut down just by the map.
Yep, and it looks like we do see that boar coming up from Night Slayer. He feels like he's has enough economy and has a comfortable army that he can afford to do so.
Yeah, and what does Raton really have to stop a boar?
That's a great question. Let's see. Let's see if his...
Another consequence of having a specialty deck is you can't account for everything like Night Slayer can, and he really doesn't have a solution to a boar. I can tell you right now, none of these units are going to take it down without paying the price of the explosion.
Yep. And it looks like Raton is going to end up just kind of blind pushing into this, but
yeah, And honestly, I think this is the right play. I don't know if it'll work, but taking an engage before that boar. Yeah, taking an engage before that boar comes up is the only way I see Raton coming out of this.
Yeah, and there's actually, well, I think we're just gonna have to see how much damage Raton does here. Man, those snakes taking out a couple of those skunks.
Yep.
But he is getting a couple of farms here.
Yeah, but the snakes completely shut down the offensive. Raton's floating 400 food. And with this boar on the way, this is...
Oh, the boar is building now. Yep. It was supply blocked at first, but it is building now. So this is kind of a race against the clock. And again, we're going to see what Raton does. Again,
and does he even know that the boar is coming? I don't think he...
No. He didn't scout it. He has no idea.
Yeah, and with so much food floating, he might be able to put down some last-minute turrets to kind of make the difference, but...
Well, I'm going to be honest. I actually like just throwing down all these Tier 1. Tier 1 obviously do poorly against boar, but again, if you have enough of them, you can still kill it. You might take a bad engagement, but you might not lose the game immediately. And again, if for some reason...
Well, we're going to find out right now.
Yeah, we are. So, Night Slayer is pushing up on the high ground, but that's a choke point if I've ever seen one. And yeah, this boar plus all this support damage is gonna kind of just run through everything. So the boar does go down.
That explosion was devastating.
There's actually not a whole lot left here for Night Slayer, so it ends up being a pretty close engagement. And again, there's nothing here. There's no farms on this third mill, so...
Wow.
Raton didn't actually lose any economy, but... yeah, it's going to kind of be a fight back and forth here, and I mean, we got a game. So it's funny, Night Slayer doesn't actually have any skunks. Just has chameleons and had snakes, actually ended up selling the snakes, and does have that boar, so... I mean, I guess the boar does plenty well against Tier 1, but, I mean, look at how many Tier 1 Raton has. I don't know if one boar is enough. It's 12 squirrels, gonna be 15 lizards. Again, might just be overwhelming numbers as far as killing that boar. And, I mean, the boar bomb is obviously powerful, and the AoE is powerful, but... and actually, Raton might be able to just hit before this boar comes out. That's the strength of having all this Tier 1, is you can resupply so fast.
If I was Night Slayer, I would just sack the base and wait for the boar. Yeah. Oh, he's not going to do that, though.
No, he's not. He's going to try to fight to save this mill, and he's going to end up backing up a little bit, at least. And here's the boar.
That gas is becoming really effective.
Yeah. Well, the gas is effective, but boar is also effective, and I think Raton's going to back up now.
What a game.
Yeah, this has been very back and forth.
Yeah, but now there's not enough.
Engaging, but I don't know if he has enough.
There shouldn't be enough. It is. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, that's
retreat. Oh.
Yeah, just kind of trickled in Tier 1 and had a couple of skunks and ended up trading. This is crazy. And Raton, during all this time we were talking about how could he possibly deal with the boar. He's actually up in farms. It's
my
crazy.
Goodness. Yeah, and his comp is gonna reinforce. Oh no, Night Slayer, this is not the play. Yeah, his Night Slayer's army does not reinforce as fast as Raton. However, Raton taking, is that a bad engage?
I don't know. I think he felt like he just wanted to kill the mill, and he is gonna get the mill.
He gets everything on top of it, along with it, and
yeah, it looks like he's gonna at least.
Oh, our Night Slayer could have sold the farms.
Yeah, it could have.
What a back and forth game.
Definitely lost some value losing those farms, and I think Raton, honestly, if he just keeps re-engaging with all this Tier 1, just keeps resupplying and attacking, could probably just wear Night Slayer down. I don't know what Night Slayer can really do about it. Finally, he's getting some skunks to deal with all this Tier 1, but
I mean,
too late.
Yeah, this army graph will just tell you how close this game really is.
Yeah, I mean, you can see all those up and down, but Raton is going in for another attack.
And this is really important. Night Slayer now down on economy. The only way he's going to survive this attack is if he focuses on mill tanking.
Yeah, and Raton actually just backing up. He sees that there's no farms on this mill and says...
Yeah, and this is great tactical decision by Raton. He doesn't need to go in right now. There's no boar threat coming.
Well, that's one thing Raton hasn't been doing super thoroughly, is scouting the back of the base, so he doesn't actually know. But well, it looks like he's gonna go in here and commit anyways.
Oh, a bad flank by the lizards.
Yeah, and unfortunately, his skunks were actually not in the battle when the lizards engaged, so didn't get any of that gas down ahead of time, and Night Slayer actually defends quite easily. But again, Raton still has that economy lead just by well, just by one farm at this point, right? By Yeah, it looks like just by one farm. I guess there's one pick that's about to follow on Night Slayer's second mill, so it's about to be 2-4. Yeah, this is really coming down to the wire, and I don't know. I have to say these four skunks initially, while they did pretty well, four skunks when your opponent only has 9 squirrels is kind of overkill. I'm not sure they're going to be that efficient.
I would have to agree. However, they've been covering so much ground, and Raton's kind of been. I don't know. It's really hard to call.
Yeah, I mean you can't discount the economy advantage, and that's something Raton definitely has going for them. And it looks like Raton is gonna try to push out again. Feels like, well, I've rebuilt my army. I have a couple farms,
Oh,
and
you need a militant Night Slayer. You should not be taking this
oh
engage
yeah,
out here.
yeah, probably trying to
Oh, that's
protect
it. That's it.
the farms, but it doesn't matter if you lose all your army. You can't protect the farms anyways. And yeah, just lost his whole army. And I think this is gonna be it. Raton's gonna just come in
My
here with his
goodness.
4 skunks and just gas these bigs to death. Unfortunately.
Wow, what a game! What a game!
Yeah, that was very back and forth. Again, just looking at the graphs, looking at how many ups and downs, and that's it. Raton does take that one. So we're going to a game 3 after all of that.
Unbelievable. I would definitely say not a perfect game for either of them by any stretch of the imagination. However, both coming out when it was important. Raton ultimately taking the lead in that one game, and now we're down to the last match.
All right, we're going into it. Night Slayer just sticking with the same deck. I can respect that. And looks like, let's see what Raton brings this time. Looks like a very similar deck also. Is opting to bring the snakes this time. And okay, here we go. We have in the bottom left,
Oh,
Night
what
Slayer.
a map!
Yeah, yeah, look at this map. And then the upper right, we have Raton. And yeah, this is a water map. And let's see. We have most of the mills by the side. We have a kind of a pocket base for Raton here with a back entrance, but still a pocket base. And down here we have Night Slayer, who has a base next to him, but has a bit of a river to cross here, and then has a high ground base here in the middle. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting map for sure.
This is. I imagine this will be an incredibly dynamic game.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because there's a lot of room to run around with lizards, but lizards don't like water. Getting that, movement speed slow is not great for trying to get in there, do some damage, and run out. So,
Definitely, but the same can be said for any other unit. Lizards being able to traverse faster than pretty much anything, save for a fox. It's going to be really hard for Night Slayer to kind of deal with the movement speed since he himself is going to be slowed.
yep, and we just have kind of the standard building 8 farms. Actually, Raton going for Lizard Worm before the 8th farm, but it doesn't look like it's going to make much of an impact because Night Slayer did throw down a Squirrel Worm before getting a mill, so theoretically shouldn't be punished for it, but let's see. Night Slayer is going to come in here and see all the farms, going to see the lizards, is going to see this mill is not taking
Lizards are
yet.
going out.
And yeah, Raton just mashing the button to try to get the lizards out here. And hopefully Night Slayer is at home to defend this, because...
Night Slayer should be fine. He should be fine. He is
Oh,
fine.
yeah, there's only 2 lizards here, and yeah, gets repelled.
They both survive.
Yeah,
Props to Raton.
lizards defend,
It's not really
so...
to keep those alive when you go in like that.
Yep. And immediately after seeing the lizards, it's chameleon time. Immediately throwing those down. It is actually getting a farm also. And Raton does decide to get his own mill, deciding not trying to one base. And it's just building a crap ton of tier 1 again. 12 squirrels. Funny that he's going into heavy squirrels now, maybe anticipating Night Slayer to build a lizard counter. So that's certainly interesting.
Yeah, Raton not going for a lot of lizards. Interestingly enough, instead choosing to go more into squirrels, which aren't really going to be able to pull off this kind of poke uh, ability that the map yields. So it looks like Raton's going to go for a more sound, more defensive playstyle this round. Even though he's going in with 3 lizards, so what's so interesting? Because normally, like, you can distract an opponent with 3 lizards if you have something building, but there's nothing building.
Yeah. Yeah, there
So
isn't.
what's the game plan? And you're even going to get shot by this.
Yeah, actually, this cabin is playing like a turret for Night Slayer, picking off a lizard. Raton unfortunately forced to back up, and yeah, has quite a bit of food in the bank. They both have the same number of farms, although Raton is just catching up in farms. So looks like Night Slayer just kind of again sticking with the bout, the 9 squirrels, and just gonna start building up tier 2.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Raton, I really think he needs to. And these 3 lizards, I don't understand because in my mind, when I'm looking at his deck, he might get this. So
Yeah, he's
power
definitely
to
gonna get
him.
big here, but probably won't get more than
Yeah,
one.
power to him for pulling that off. But if I'm in Raton's shoes right now, I think I need to make these pokes count. I need to chip away over time because if if really he doesn't make a difference in his poking throughout the game by the 7 minute mark, Nightslayer is going to be in a really solid place to just steamroll with a really strong, concentrated army.
Yep, and that's the strength of bringing this many tier 2s. Is you can have a absolutely great mid-game army, and Raton actually coming in here again. But Night Slayer's gonna be ready this time. Did see it coming, so gonna repel those lizards. And Night Slayer is on all 8 farms on the second base. Is not rebuilding this one farm on the first mill just because it doesn't have much food left, and is deciding to actually just expand forward.
Yeah, Raton doesn't have a prayer of scouting this board. It's definitely gonna come up
Yeah.
unannounced, and as a result, Raton might not put down snakes. Oh, but I.
Puts on snakes anyway. See, you know what? I have to say, in these games, Raton has had pretty good game sense.
Good for
Like
him. Maybe
attacking
suspecting
before the board
something.
came up the first game, and then this, knowing to put down the snakes in this time of the game that tier 3 might be coming. So,
All right.
or might just
Props
be
to him.
thinking
Great
about,
game sense.
yeah, might just be thinking about chameleons too, because they are good against the chameleons, and he knows those are out.
Yeah, and I think kind of what we saw last round was Nightslayer was just pushing his boar forward, really forcing the boar bomb, and which caused it to go down really fast and kind of left the rest of his army vulnerable. Uh, and I really think if he plays more into the boar in a more central position in his army when he engages, he'll be much more successful this time around.
So Night Slayer did scout this base to the north, so full disclosure there in case there's a base race or something. But again, this boar is out now. Is gonna come on over here, and yeah, last time it was boar, some chameleons, and believe snakes, and then just a couple squirrels against like mass tier 1. And again, it ended up just kind of being trades, but this time there are a couple skunks also.
And here
For
we
Night
go.
Slayer.
Once again, the boar's going dead
It's gonna
center.
go down real fast, but looks like there's quite a few falcons here this time also, and I think this is definitely going to be enough to push Raton back, and actually loses a couple snakes on the retreat. So
Everything's on low health though, and it's gonna get cleared up. Oof, I think Night
yeah,
Slayer should have counted his wins and retreated in that
just
moment.
retreated. Yeah, well, the tier 1 reinforcements again came out very quickly, able to clean it up, and it looks like Raton wants to counter push here.
And once again, Raton's deck just really good at reinforcing very quickly.
Yep, that's the strength of
He's
tier
gonna
1
get some
stuff like this.
picks.
Just
He's
got
up
one farm
on
of a pick.
economy.
Did actually get a couple farms up here during all that madness, so
Night Slayer sells the boar. I don't think he should. So I think he should have sold into another boar. To be honest, I gotta say I think he could do a little bit better in preserving it, or if he's gonna sacrifice it, really pushing it into the base because it looks like he tried to save it in the end when there was no hope, and which didn't really give him a very effective boar bomb.
yeah. Yep, and most people love to just throw the boar in there to get the boar bomb, massive damage, but it might be a case where just keeping the rest of your army in front of the boar just to try to protect it, get it as much time to do the AoE damage could be good. Because if you can have an engagement where your boar survives, but the rest of your army is trade, that could be a big advantage. And it looks like Raton is kind of positioning here to try to take a fight. Night Slayer still only has those 2 skunks, is building more skunks, but they're not out yet, so this is gonna definitely be a little hairy.
One's gonna come. And here we go. Oh, the retreat. Why?
Oh yeah, we have the retreat from Night Slayer, but again, wasn't able to put much gas down. But it looks
Oh my
like
goodness.
all these falcons in the couple
stay behind.
just...
There are too many units on low health. Good, he recognizes it this time, learned from his mistakes.
Yeah,
and
like look
that's
at all
a big
those
win.
units at 10 or less health. Like that was possibly like 5 or 6 tier 2s that were low health. So yeah, this time Night Slayer is going to get a big advantage by not continuing, not going for the counter push. Because again, we see this army graph. Look at that drop from the fight that just happened. That could have been very different if Night Slayer countered attack and then lost all of his tier 2.
Absolutely, absolutely learned from his mistake. Managed to defend that farm. That's going to survive. Now he's up on the economy. He's got the tempo. His whole army is back. And he's in a very safe, he's in a very comfortable position, which I think is saying a lot, seeing how he was kind of at a disadvantage going into that battle.
Yep. Yeah, and it's, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into these engagements. Like that time, yes, Night Slayer did back up a little bit into his farms, but it was still kind of a narrow area. There was a wall to his right, there was water to his left, so... might have been part of the good engagement, but it's just funny to see how I think the better positioning and possibly better army composition, even without a boar, ended up winning the fight. So
yeah, once again, just so educational, because it takes a lot of damage to bring down a tier 2, whereas tier 1s get melted like butter, which is why if Raton does a ton of damage but equally spread amongst the tier 2 and they all survive, you took a giant hit. But wow, big things going on right now.
Yep, that arty cannon that everybody wants to see is trying to be put up in the middle here, and these 3
I think it's gonna get
to
up.
defend it. Yeah, I think at this point,
not capable. Night Slayer doesn't know about it.
Yeah, Night Slayer didn't see the arty cannon, but
up.
did see the defenses, so might be suspecting something's up. But so we talked about this before a little bit, but this arty cannon does not reach this mill, seemingly obviously, right? But it does control space in the middle, so now it's to the point where if Raton wants to go for sneaky attacks, or I guess a head-on attack, he can kind of poke and back up.
Go away, go home.
Yep.
Okay.
So all of a sudden...
And this is where the poking really begins.
Yep, although Raton's running his entire army back and forth and is definitely losing some tier 1 in these engagements, so... And we do have the boar coming up again from Night Slayer, so finally deciding, yes, it is worth getting. And
yeah, and a great decision. You know, the boar does critical damage to structures.
Yep.
So it's going to be really good for this engage. And honestly, if he gets that boar and he just does a full blitz for the turrets and for the drumfire, the drumfire will miss. Like it'll overshoot and it'll get taken down. However, a defense wall is coming up, and I'm actually a big proponent of defensive walls. So
oh man,
this will be interesting.
Night Slayer had his chameleons in the front there, and Raton didn't see that when he ran his lizards in, so didn't really.
Just so many tactics, so many layers into these games.
That's cool to see. And,
neither opponent giving up, even when they're down. That's gonna get picked off finally.
Yeah, so this is a maneuver you see sometimes where snakes come out to poke when you have defenses or just a bigger army behind them, and just trying to get some damage because looks like one of them is gonna get picked off. The other one should hopefully heal back up if he goes back into water or his own territory.
Trumpet makes a really good point. There is a campfire in the back of Night Slayer's base, which could be a pivotal role if this turns into a starve game.
Yep, and that was the same campfire that thwarted the early lizard attack coming from behind, so I remember that. But yeah, this boar is out now, and Night Slayer's army is incredibly powerful. We have 10 falcons, a boar, 4 skunks, and 6 chameleons and 2 snakes. Like
It's
this
it's
army's
so
great.
interesting because this match is just so complete in that their entire army, their entire strategy is out. It's on the board. And how often do you get to see that in a match?
Not there's it's not often that you see the games go this late, and I think unfortunately Raton. Oh, we actually have a big engagement here. I almost missed it talking about other stuff, but there is fighting happening under the drone fire cannon in range of 2 turrets, but it doesn't matter. Once you hit critical massive falcons and a boar, Night Slayer just able to completely roll over Raton's army, even after losing his commander, is what that looked like, and is just going to be able to plow right through these defenses. And in the end, the mass tier 1 army, even with defenses, was not enough to keep up with the mid to late game army of Night Slayer.
Masterful series.
And that was a great game to watch. That was that was pretty great. Well played by both players. GG's definitely. And man, we're just getting started.
Wow, both of those players making a name for themselves. Definitely some opponents to watch out for in the coming tournament. What a match! I honestly, that was wonderful to cast. You really got to see kind of each person's style and to each their own, and both of them showing just how successful their own styles can be. I think this was a great set.
Yep, definitely. So, I think we're going to take a little bit of a break here, and let's just see what the next round's going to be. Again, they're going to put in the scores here. They're going to see who won this first round. Looks like we had, we saw 2 of them. We saw Night Slayer, one of the winners. We saw Horus, also one of the winners. And in the other match, we had Draz versus Tuesday, where Draz did come out on top 2-1. That was, again, done on Delphius' channel. So it looks like we have the new matches. So I'm just going to see which
Trumpet,
one
have you been,
Delphius wants
been
to
giving
take.
Draz that secret sauce, that secret TnT sauce, that premier love? Because from what I know, Draz and Trumpet are on the same StarCraft 2 team.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is right. It's good to see that. All right. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back.